Fox 2's Chris Hayes found the raids also reportedly emptied at least 2 suburban homes filled with workers.
Video shared with CMI Central by the statewide advocacy group Rural and Migrant Ministry shows people being led out of the facility in Cato and into a van labeled Border Patrol.
Yesterday, Homeland Security Investigations, in coordination with our law enforcement partners, executed a judicial search warrant. The investigation resulted in the arrest of 475 individuals.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today I am going to continue with the stories about the people who are in the country without permission that ICE is going after with gusto. See, normally I don't ever go after it like from a perspective of who are these people? You know, like I know many of these people personally, but you might not know these people. And in today's story, what we're going to do is we're not necessarily going to see the individuals, but I'm going to take the perspective that I think there's how do I say this in a YouTube friendly way? I think there are some powerful, bigger forces that are moving people around for business profit. And you're going to see that in today's video, y'all. You're going to see that people are living 20 people to a house. You're going to see a business owner whose business just got raided. And he's like, I think I got 100 people in there. And he's like, oh, this doesn't seem humane. What? Hold up. Do you own the business, man? I mean, are you profiting off of this? And he's just going to be standing there talking like, hey, why'd you come take my workers? So what I'm getting at here is y'all, I think a lot of times there's a lot of like animus against the individuals, but you have to understand this is a business, y'all. This is about economics. It's about voting. It's about power, but it's also about business. So today what we're going to do, we're going to see people who are sleeping 20 people to a house, as I told you before, who are being moved around and who are being brought here and taken there, largely because of business interests. And I think that might give you a bit of a different perspective, but you're going to see it with your own eyes. And finally, we're going to end this video with an investigator from, I believe, the Department of Justice, who's talking about the Hyundai plant. Hyundai, you know, the car company, the Hyundai plant that was just raided, where they took away 475 people. So today is all about the businesses that are profiting off of the people who are in this country without permission, y'all. Let's go ahead and jump into it. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all. Go to Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com, or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protected from inflation, protected from monetary debasement, you're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement.
Homeland Security raids in St. Charles County shut down a popular restaurant.
Fox 2's Chris Hayes found the raids also reportedly emptied at least 2 suburban homes filled with workers.
Not far from Interstate 70 near the Cave Springs exit is a restaurant so popular, people have been constantly pulling up while we've been here, including these folks here, surprised that federal agents raided Golden Apple Buffet here in St. Peter's off Mexico Road Tuesday.
I seen you guys, so I knew it was a problem.
It was raided.
Raided for what?
By federal agents.
So they was the illegals in there, huh?
Maybe.
We came to have lunch, and we find you out here.
It was just one of at least 3 St. Peter's locations raided by the feds. This is viewer video of federal agents raiding a property with reported workers inside on Park Charles Boulevard South in St. Peter's, followed by a drone.
Chris Hayes with Fox 2.
A person who answered the door Wednesday said she didn't speak English. Neighbors said they witnessed as many as 20 people inside this home detained Tuesday. people they had seen being bused to the restaurant in the past. Then there's a second St. Peter's home.
Missouri Secretary of State records list the registered agent of the restaurant as Guo Liang Ye, with the listed address behind me of Bruns Place Court. We also noticed 5 cars in the driveway, all with out-of-state plates, all from different states of New York, Georgia, Ohio, Virginia, and Texas.
That's half as many cars as neighbors here say they're used to seeing. Neighbors who also report about 15 to 20 people detained from this home.
Chris Hayes with Fox 2, how are you?
A person who answered this door said he also didn't speak English, but used his hands to indicate there were arrests.
They did arrest?
Federal authorities are not yet giving solid numbers. We are now tracking what comes up in court.
Well, it was a good place. I mean, I guess they was hustling.
No indication on when or if Golden Apple Buffet will reopen, as now there are additional questions about whether a second location will even open. In St. Peter's, Chris Hayes, Fox 2 News.
So you definitely do get the feeling that people may have been brought here. People are here and they're serving somebody else's purposes. And frankly, y'all, I don't know that people always come into this country without permission. I'm not sure that it's always something that the individual does out of their own selfish, nefarious purposes. I think they are tricked a lot of times. Believe that, y'all. Believe, especially people who work in certain underground industries, you know, SX, if you feel me. But I think people are tricked. People are, hey, we're gonna take you to the United States. We have a visa for you. You're gonna work in this kind of place, and you'll work a certain amount of time, and you'll pay off the loan that you owe us, and then you'll get. And people, a lot of times, people they don't know. So, am I excusing the people who do know? Because most people do know. Okay, let's just put it like that. I'm not excusing that, but I am saying that I've personally heard stories from people. Oh yeah, they said that when I went there that I was gonna do this. I got there, and next thing you know, it's this kind of thing. That happens a lot, y'all. So you saw that first. This was a restaurant. It looks like a restaurant. Maybe people from Asia. I don't know. And as you're gonna see in the final story, the people who are at the Hyundai plant, like over 400, almost 500 people. It looks like they're also from maybe South Korea, y'all. So that also broadens your horizons as to what the heck is really going on out there. Now we're gonna go, but before we get to that final story, we're gonna get to this story of a New York, looks like some kind of nutrition bar company where they have 100 people. 100, y'all. Just think about all these people within the last day or so. They have 100 people who were just taken by ICE. We're going to get into what happened, and then shortly you're going to see the owner talking about this like, yeah, man, this is not right. Like, let's go ahead and jump into it.
The governor says she's outraged by 2 immigration raids in central New York today. Good evening. I'm Matt Mulcahy.
And I'm Megan Coleman. The governor calling the federal action cruel, saying more than 40 adults were seized, including the parents of at least a dozen children. An immigration advocacy agency says one of the raids was at a bakery in Fulton, the other in Cato.
Ahí va Susana, ahí va Yasilda. Lo está metiendo al...
Video shared with CNY Central by the statewide advocacy group Rural and Migrant Ministry shows people being led out of the facility in Cato and into a van labeled Border Patrol. They don't appear to be handcuffed, but they aren't allowed to go anywhere except that waiting van. Those at the scene say dozens were detained by federal officials. The Rural and Migrant Ministry says these people were taken to a detention center in Oswego County. The sheriff's department there has not responded to our question.
So that was the first part of this report. This is kind of a longer report, so I'm breaking it down into different parts. In this next part, you're going to see that the reporter, she's very, I'm not going to say she's concerned, but she seems to go out of her way to tell people, like, we have been able to verify that these are ICE agents. Now, quick little aside, y'all, I was talking to a relative today about this immigration thing. And my relative said, and it's not right, people going out there with masks on. They snatching people off the streets. You don't even know who they are. Now, listen, I report, I tell y'all what's happening out there, but what I'm trying to get across is this is an actual concern that people have. You know, my relative is not from another country. My relative is American. So, my relative is not concerned about that personally, but I guess this narrative is out there. So this reporter, I think, is going to reflect the narrative.
And tonight, new video from what appears to be the moment that Homeland Security agents confronted workers inside the facility. In this video, you can see agents talking to workers, most of them women, many of whom are using their phones to record the interaction or perhaps call family or for help. This video was sent to a trusted source of CNY Central, who then forwarded to our team.
Our team reviewed these videos and found identifiable federal officers and workers that are seen in both of them. The officers can be recognized by their clothing, some of whom have logos for sports teams and non-government organizations. CNY Central also reviewed the style of their body armored vests and duty belts, along with the contents attached to them to verify those seen in the two videos are in fact the same people.
Now, local law enforcement did help the federal officials in today's raid. Cuyahoga County Sheriff Brian Schenk says his office was contacted by the federal government to assist with traffic and security at the site while the Homeland Security investigation took place. The raid in Cato left dozens of families without answers tonight.
Yeah, that is certainly a question that we've been looking into. Gary Robinson Jr. spoke with part of the company's leadership and people who say loved ones may never come home to their families.
So now that we see that this factory, this manufacturing plant was raided, let's take a look at what the owner has to say. Now, I'm trying to understand, at no point is this owner going to address whether his workers have permission to be in the country and permission to work or not. I don't know if they just left this out. I don't know if the news if he said something and the news didn't present that or what, but I would have expected, if I'm the owner, I would have been saying every 5 seconds, we check documentation. As far as I know, all of these people have documents. He doesn't even mention that. Now, again, did the news just cut that out? I don't know. Y'all, you be the judge. Do you think that this guy, he's presenting his face here, right? Meaning he's taking responsibility for being the owner. So it seems like he could get in trouble. I don't know. Y'all, let me know what you think about this.
Please.
It started as a normal workday at nutrition bar Confectioners until federal agents swarmed the Cato factory. Lenny Schmidt is an owner of the company.
Came into work today and, a bunch of federal agents, sheriff's department were here conducting an investigation. I'm not sure how many, probably could be about 100. Wasn't able to get into the facility. They weren't letting anybody in there.
Schmidt says it was a terrifying scene. Officers with dogs and vehicles surrounding the factory.
The people that work for us are, every single one of them are wonderful people. They work hard. They come to work smiling. Every one of them is special. And to have them taken away is not only unfortunate, it's just inhumane almost, the way you see it, as it's being conducted.
Schmidt says most of those detained were Hispanic workers, and many families now have no idea where their loved ones are. Outside the factory, cars still sit in the lot, a stark reminder of the people who never went home.
It's the first week of school. A lot of classes are starting for college students and everybody. This raid has disrupted a lot of families, hardworking families. All the kids are going to come home from school and ask, where's my mom, where's my dad?
Schmidt says the factory lost a full day of production, but the bigger loss is to the community.
You feel for these people that they get taken away, and they have families, they have children, and they don't know what happened to them. There's no warning, no rhyme or reason. It's just boom, gone.
We reached out to numerous state agencies for their response, and we are still waiting to hear back from many of them. Reporting in Cato, I'm Gary Robinson Jr.
Well, tonight the governor responded to this, saying New York will work with the federal government to secure our borders and deport violent criminals, but we will never stand for masked ICE agents separating families and abandoning children.
She goes on to say today's raids will not make New York safer. What they did was shatter hardworking families who are simply trying to build a life here, just like millions of immigrants before them.
And finally, y'all, that it's T minus probably 12 hours 24 hours from now, everybody's expecting that ICE is going to go into Chicago with a heavy presence. People think it's going to be the National Guard. I've already said in the previous video, I'm predicting it will not be the National Guard. I think it's going to be ICE. They might be militarized. They might go on with the heavy equipment. They might look like military, but I predict it will be ICE. People in Chicago, you know, what's going on with the protests? Like, people protest anything now. I feel like the whole concept of a protest has kind of lost its vigor, its value now, because people protest everything. It's like, yo, save a protest for when you really need a protest. But anyway, people in Chicago are already lining up, starting the protest. Nothing has even happened yet. They're protesting before anything even kicks off.
A small victory for protesters demonstrating outside this immigration facility in West Suburban Broadview. We shall not be moved. As they force a vehicle trying to enter to leave by blocking the entrance at the Beach Street location and refuse to move. With signs in hand and chanting, it's just one way supporters of immigrant rights rallied this morning to disrupt operations at the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
When Donald Trump runs out of other people to blame, when our state, our city, our federal government run out of non-white people, non-privileged people to point the finger at, they will come for you as well.
Officials with the village, which is predominantly black and Latino, boarded up the building's windows in advance of today's protest after federal authorities informed them the facility would serve as a primary processing location, open 7 days a week for the next month and a half. 2 transport vans were seen leaving the center before daybreak. Border czar Tom Homan says it's a part of the president's immigration enforcement crackdown.
Now, as I told you previously, we're going to end this video with a statement from an official at the Department of Justice. Again, yesterday, there was a huge raid. I think it was the biggest ICE raid ever on a manufacturing plant. I think the plant is under construction. I don't even think it's open yet. I'm not sure about that. But at any rate, 475 people were taken. I think many of them are of South Korean nationality. In fact, an official in South Korea came out and made a statement about this today. So, you know, this is an international incident at this point. So I'm going to finish the video with that. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I'll just flow right into his statements, y'all. So I guess the question of the day is, what do you think should happen to these businesses? Like, maybe we should fall back a little bit from blaming the people who are working, right? Because we really don't know their circumstances. We really don't know. But we do know that these businesses, we know their circumstances, right? So what do you think should happen to businesses? Do you think that we can't necessarily deport the business owners? A lot of them are Americans, or they have permission to be in the country. So what do you think should happen to the businesses that are employing people by the 5s, 10s, 20s, and even hundreds? What do you think should happen? Let me know down in the comments, y'all. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. For my people with a retirement, do you see your money have you checked your retirement lately? Is it growing? I bet it's not growing as fast as gold. I told y'all several months ago, I said, y'all check out gold. Gold is now, listen, 1 ounce of gold is about $3,500 for an ounce, y'all. For 1 ounce. Do you know how much an ounce is? An average canned soda, this is just to give you a perspective. An average canned soda weighs 12 ounces, okay? If that were gold, it would be $42,000 worth of gold, okay? So that's giving you a perspective. Basically, a gulp of one solid gulp of a soda, you just drank about $3,500 worth if it were gold, okay? So I've been telling y'all, protect your retirement. Y'all go to Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com. Get the information. It's the first link down in the description. And speak to my people at Augusta Precious Metals at 844-651-8334. Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all. See you back in the next one. Now we're going to flow right into the DOJ's comments on the biggest ICE raid in history.
Yesterday, Homeland Security investigations, in coordination with our law enforcement partners, executed a judicial search warrant as part of an ongoing criminal investigation into allegations of unlawful employment practices and serious federal crimes. This operation underscores our commitment to protecting jobs for Georgians and Americans, ensuring a level playing field for businesses that comply with the law, safeguarding the integrity of our economy, and protecting workers from exploitation. The investigation resulted in the arrest of 475 individuals and is focused on ensuring accountability for those who violate the law and uphold the rule of law. I'd like to add that this was not an immigration operation where agents went into the premises, rounded up folks, and put them on buses. This has been a multi-month criminal investigation where we have developed evidence, conducted interviews, gathered documents, and presented that evidence to the court in order to obtain a judicial search warrant. Yesterday, we executed that search warrant and gathered additional evidence that will support this investigation. There are no criminal charges being announced today, but this is an ongoing matter. While we were on the premises, we did encounter many hundreds of individuals. Of those, as I've previously mentioned, 475 were illegally present in the United States or in violation of their presence in the United States, working unlawfully, who have entered through a variety of different means into the United States, some that illegally crossed the border into the United States, some that came in through visa waiver and were prohibited from working, some that had visas and overstayed their visas. And each individual was questioned on their status, their documents were checked, their backgrounds were checked, and ultimately through coordination of our and attorneys in the background, those that were found to be illegally present were then detained and turned over to ICE enforcement and removal operations custody. But this is all in furtherance of the ongoing investigation where we are looking at employment practices. We made seizures yesterday as part of that to gather additional evidence and conducted interviews and are continuing this ongoing investigation.